For years, this scope had never given me a reason to doubt it. It had been on fallow hunts, tahr hunts, red deer hunts, never given me an issue, and I'd always dropped every animal that I'd ever shot with it. And then, during this year's roar, I missed a spiker by about a foot. A few minutes later, I got a second opportunity, took another shot, and once again, missed by about a foot. What followed on from that was a rabbit hole of troubleshooting, self-blame, and eventually a warranty claim. And I ended with a lesson that every hunter with a dial-up optic should learn. When I decided I wanted a proper long-range setup, I wasn't looking for the most expensive optic on the shelf. I was looking for something practical. I wanted something with enough magnification dial-up that I could pick a precise point on the animal I was shooting. I wanted a lot of light gathering, so that meant a big objective lens, and I wanted a dial-up turret for precise distance adjustment. I also wanted adjustable parallax. When I saw the Zerotech Vengeance, it ticked all the boxes. 4:20 magnification, dial-up turret, adjustable parallax, and a 50mm objective lens. And over the next few years, it would prove itself again and again. The first animal I had an opportunity at with this setup was a nanny tahr in the Rangitata in Canterbury. We'd been climbing through steep country, slippery tussock, rocky bluffs, and shin-deep snow, and eventually I saw a nanny tahr across the valley from where we were. So I got set up and I let her bed. At 94 yards, it wasn't a long-range shot, but this setup proved itself as the one I wanted. The next opportunity I had was a fallow buck in the lower Capels during the Capels Greenstone ballot. This was another really cold hunt, didn't get above 0 degrees most of the time, and a lot of the ground stayed frozen the entire time I was there. I saw 2 fallow bucks feeding, and I got myself laying down on the ground all nicely set up. They were 267 yards away. I dialed up the distance on the scope, made a perfect shot, then I secured my best buck to date with my long range setup, and it worked absolutely perfect. The next opportunity was a red stag at the end of the roar. I climbed high on a wet cold morning and saw a stag with his girls on an opposite face. So once again I got prone on the ground using my backpack as a rest, and yeah, he was 276 yards away. Absolutely nailed him, dropped him on the spot. The dial-up system was working perfectly. Everything I was dialing up at distance was just dropping. The next opportunity was the same morning as the red stag. In fact, it was only a couple of minutes later. There was a couple of his girls that I decided I'd take as meat animals as well. They were at 200 yards, so I redialed the scope, got settled in on my same backpack rest, and nailed both of them as well. The next shot opportunity with this setup wasn't actually me, it was my partner Rachel, and it was a really cold winter morning, and yeah, on a face not too far away from us there was a group of hinds. So we crawled up and she got set up. They were only about 90 yards away, so there was no need to dial it up because it's zeroed for 100 yards. And she, once again, one perfect shot and hind was down. Now the latest animal I've taken with this setup was a red hind. I took my nephew out on his first ever deer hunt and we spotted a deer 200 yards away. So once again I dialed up the scope to 200 yards. We settled in on a backpack rest, made a perfect shot, and down she went. So yeah, this setup has always performed extremely well for me. Then came this year's roar. On an opposite face to where I was set up, there was a spiker and a group of hinds. I got set up, they were 250 yards away from me. I waited a long time until I finally got a broadside shot at him, and I fired, and the shot landed a foot high. I chalked it up to I just made a bad shot, and then they ran around the face and they stopped 200 yards from me, so I was able to get a second shot away at him. Once again, the shot landed a foot high. So I started to think that maybe my scope was out. So the next day I headed to the range just to make sure that my scope hadn't taken a knock or something. So I was shooting at 100 yards and it was just tack driving, perfect shots every time. So it definitely wasn't the scope. So I chalked it up to I was just having a bad day shooting. The next week I headed out for another hunt and I saw a group of pines 300 yards away from me. So I got set up with a backpack rest as usual. It was a good solid rest. I dialed the distance exactly for 300 yards. I settled in, everything felt rock solid and perfect. It was a really nice trigger squeeze. And once again I missed. This time, something didn't sit right with me. When I got home, I checked the rifle again. All the mounts were solid. Nothing seemed cracked or broken. So it still had me thinking, was it my shooting? And I'd like to think that it wasn't. At this point, something wasn't adding up. All the mounts were tight, the rest was solid, the ammunition was always the same, the zero was perfect at 100 yards, and the dope chart was the same one I'd always used. So I did what everyone does these days, and I consulted ChatGPT and came to the conclusion that it may be a turret malfunction. So I took it into my local hunting and fishing, and they confirmed that there was something wrong with the turret. Turned fast, it was skipping over teeth, and turning slowly, it was grabbing too many teeth. Thankfully, that's when the story starts to get better. The staff at the hunting and fishing store processed the warranty claim and got the scope sent away to the Zerotech supplier. This is when another little bit of stress crept in, as I had a big trip planned down in the Greenstone Valley in 3 weeks' time. Thankfully, 10 days later, a new scope arrived at the store. No questions asked and no cost to me. But getting a new scope is one thing, rebuilding trust is another thing entirely. And the only way to rebuild that trust is to verify. After several years of use, this scope developed a fault, and that's the reality with all things mechanical. Things can and do break. What matters is how easy the problem is to diagnose, how the company responds, and whether the issue gets resolved. This scope gave me years of reliable service, the warranty process was straightforward, and now a new one is back on rifle, ready for the next hunt. If there's one lesson I'd take away from this, it's that a rifle shooting perfectly at 100 yards doesn't mean everything's okay. Trust your gear, but verify it. Because a lot of the time, a problem won't show up on the range. It'll show up when a deer steps out in front of you.